Welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to talk about a one-to-one polymorphic relationship. So let's imagine that we have an image and we want this image to belong to multiple things. All right, so you might have one image that belongs to a user, but then you also might have an image that belongs to a video. And you might have an image that belongs to a blog post, for example. So in other words, the image has a one-to-one relationship with something else. So I'm just going to put a little question mark in here. But we don't necessarily know what that something else is. Okay, so it could be a user, it could be a video, it could be absolutely any model at all. How do we define that relationship? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And first, let's do an example with a user. Now, you'll notice that at the top here, I've written entity. That is the entity field on our model. So remember, when we created a model, we had to say where that model would be stored inside the store. And that's usually going to be the plural of the model name. So in this case, it is users, all right? So this isn't a field on the user table. These are the fields, and that's the entity name. All right, so how do we create a relationship between this image and the user with a one-to-one relationship? Well, that's where these two fancy fields come in here, the imageable type and the imageable ID. And I want to break this down a bit. So let's take this last part of the word here, able. It's kind of like saying what is able to be related to an image. In this case, it is a user that is able to be related to an image. So we set the imageable type to users. And the same is with the ID. So what is able to relate to an image? What is the ID of that thing? It is the user's ID. And that's how we do a one-to-one relationship. It really is as simple as that. So in this example, the imageable type would be equal to users. And let's just say this has an ID of 4. The imageable ID would be equal to 4. And that's a one-to-one polymorphic relationship. So that's a new word, polymorphic, and it's basically the fact that this image can belong or can morph to a whole bunch of different types of models. All right, so let's have a look at another example. We're going to copy this and paste it down, and I'm going to grab this bad boy down here, which is a post, and it's the same thing. Let's talk through this together. So I'll cross that out, cross this bad boy out. All right, so what is able to turn into an image? Well, it is the post. So we point to the entity name, which is posts. And what is the ID of the thing that is able to be turned into an image? It's this post ID. And that's a one-to-one polymorphic relationship. So this image can belong to absolutely any model at all. As long as it's got an ID, as long as it knows what ID it's pointing to, and as long as it's got a type. And by the way, the inverse is true as well. This post would now be able to find the image, because what it does is it says, okay, my entity name is posts, so I'm going to look for an image with this entity name. Okay, so it finds the image with an imageable type of posts, and then it finds the ID that matches its ID. All right, so these two basically know about each other in a one-to-one relationship. So in the next video, we're going to talk about how we set up this relationship using Vuex ORM. Let's dive into it.